And just like that, we got a pre-show going here. Rants of Izzo on Spreey Media. Place you could have your balls out and no one cares. I don't know, maybe you're, I don't know. All right, pre-show, that's it. Rants of Izzo show here, Spreey Media. So what does that mean for you? That means you need to get involved if you're actually enjoying this content by going to Spreely.com and getting involved with the website. Because I know so many of you are like, man, we need American. We need to support small American businesses. Start supporting platforms that give you free speech. Go to Spreely.com or download Freedom Hub, all one word, on your smartphone and start using the social media on Spreely where you can say whatever you want and not, because some of you are saying some shit that I'm like, damn, that's pretty intense. It is Wednesday. Maddie and Scott are in with us today from the Burn Pit Podcast, also found on Spreely Media. And we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into today. This is what we do. All right, just about 2 minutes, kids, and we're going to be live. So, yeah. Don't forget, if you have a small business that you want to feature, we do Small Business Thursdays here on the Rants of Izzo. So I don't care if you sell feet pictures online. I don't care if you knit sweaters for cats. I don't give a shit. Whatever you do, you want to be featured, go ahead and text to 708-982-0974. 708-982-0974. Text me what your business is, and we'll schedule you to come on the show and talk all about it. We'll advertise it. Or maybe if you're a little shy and you're fucking pussy and you're like, I don't want to go online and talk about my business, I'll talk about it. Just give me the information. It's as simple as that. And as well, too, that same number is our rant line. So when you have something you want to complain about, 708-982-0974. You can send a text message, a voice note, a voicemail, bitch about something you want to hear or you disagree with, whatever. Here's what it is. I think we got, I don't know. We'll be going live soon. That's all I know here on Spreely Media. This, of course, is where we just warm the chops up. All that kind of good stuff. I should start promoting shit too. Like, buy my book, Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know. I don't have a copy of it somewhere around here. I should. Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop, available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and WordsMatterPublishing.com. All right, let's do this. We'll have a show here and get going.
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominick Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Kids, good afternoon. We're back live. Thank God it's Wednesday here on the Rants of Izzo show on Spreely Media. Yes, we were having technical difficulties because of Mercury retrograde, and I don't give a shit who says what. If you don't believe Mercury retrograde is true, you're out of your mind. Our internet, our speed was just in the toilet, and that's it. On top of Mercury retrograde kind of going, Scott, to answer your question, I think that's why we've never been to the moon, period, is because Mercury retrograde affects that kind of shit. So, yeah, Scott and Maddie from the Burn Pit Podcast sitting in on Wednesday. Do you think we went to the moon?
Absolutely not. Yeah. I don't. That's my personal opinion. I don't think we have been. I've watched every single documentary you could possibly think of on this one. I've done the research. If we did, what I like to do, Dominic, is I like to put things on trial. Matt uses the Socratic method. I like to think of taking a topic and putting it before a jury of my peers and saying, could I convince them of this? Or could we convict something of this? And I think at the very least, you could convict NASA of gross negligence because they apparently have lost the telemetry data. So even if we went there, let's say we did, that would be one of the greatest achievements in mankind.
Sure.
Yet the people at NASA lost the telemetry data, the stuff that got us there, the math that we were able to do that is gone and lost. That's quite a coincidence. And then you look at everything else. I mean, there's a documentary called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. There's just some of the footage that you look back and you just laugh at. It's like they went up there. There was a camera that was already there, was put on the moon.
Yeah, that's the best part.
That Houston controlled, right, from Earth. And then they went up there. They played golf. They drove around in a golf cart. They got some samples. And then they took off, and the footage of them taking back off to go into the lunar, the whatever's up there. There was two that went on the moon. One was stayed up floating around. I guess. Then they went back, and and the phone call from the moon to Nixon.
Right. Well, what blows
there's just
me
a lot
away
there
is
that you could go.
I'm not creative when it comes down to like reels or production shit, like when it comes online, but I like watching it, right? Something I do like watching is like those people who camp out in their car in like 40 below blizzards in Nebraska or Wyoming, and you see them and that kind of stuff, or the people who make like Dick Preni is he there you go. Dick Preni, guys, I'm mad. You got to know who he was.
Dick Preni?
Dick Preni. Oh my God! You guys don't know who Dick Preni was?
I've never heard of him, no.
Dick Preni said "fuck you" to the world in like the late '60s. And you remember when we were in school, and it would be like, all right, they brought out the it wasn't reel to reel, but it was an actual film, and you were like, oh, we're gonna watch something, and then it turned into like the swallow was on the plane looking for a mate today, and he's gonna look, he's doing his little dance trying to attract a woman, and we watched those kind of like educational shits. Well, Dick Preni did a bunch of educational videos. They're all over YouTube, and they're fucking great. And he had his camera set up to document him building a log cabin. At like 60 years old, he went out there, built a log cabin, built the fucking tools to build a log cabin. I mean, this guy's out there. He made hammers out of nothing. He's like, oh, here's a tree. I'm going to make a hammer out of it by, I don't know, using a piece of yarn to cut the tree down. It's fucking incredible. But what he did so this is like the 60s where he's filming the videos. So he would set his camera up because he knew how to film like a documentary filmmaker, set it up and then film himself walking away from the camera into the distance and then narrate over it. That's the same thing you do with the fucking moon landing. Set up a fucking camera for this shit. That's why it's like when people are like Stanley Kubrick had something to do with it, I 100% believe he did. And I think that he was kind of off for exposing it.
Well, that's not actually a uncommon thing throughout history, to where there was multiple events where they have hired Hollywood directors to film certain things on certain historical events. Billy Wilder and Alfred Hitchcock are two notable ones who were called in by the British government. Alfred Hitchcock, and Billy Wilder was called in by the American government post-World War II to the concentration camps to put a production on for the Nuremberg trials, to propagate the whole narrative of the extermination camps. And this is a known fact. So it's not foreign to do that. It's not a foreign concept.
Propaganda happens all the time.
Propaganda has been happening for a long time, especially with Hollywood directors. So
here's another one. Don Pettit, he's an astronaut, astronaut at NASA. He was in an interview. They asked him, hey, can we go to the moon again? He said, you can find this. Don Pettit, NASA, YouTube it. He says, I'd love to go to the moon in a nanosecond, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a very painful process to build it back again. He said a lot of outlandish stuff, but it's like, why would you destroy the technology that got us to the moon in 1960s? But here we are in 2024, and we can't rebuild it, or it's a painful process to rebuild, and we haven't been back since 72. Right. So,
I agree. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin was on Conan OBrien, or I don't know, 30 years ago or however long that show was, 20 years ago, and he flat out said, he goes, when O'Brien said, I watched Nixon on the phone, he goes, no, you didn't. Because what you watched was animation, and then he tried to explain all that stuff. And even when he was confronted by a little girl in looks like a makeshift interview, why haven't we been to the moon? And he says, Well, that's my question, because we haven't gone, and I'll find this this audio, but he says it flat out. It's hilarious. I gotta find this.
Buzz has had a lot of slip ups. They got to stop putting him out there because he just.
No, I love it.
He's like, you know, he's a senile at this point. It'd be like, you know, if he was like president or something. To be.
Yeah, he's perfect.
He just says stuff, and you're like, God.
Yeah. Here's his Conan OBrien slip up, and this is like in the 90s.
Let's talk about this, because this is fascinating. I remember very clearly, I think anybody who was alive at the time does. I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. See, you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, but what we saw was we all were gathered around the old curved top radio and listened.
Talking about, you know, how many feet we were going to the left and right, and then I said, contact light, engine stop.
It was
and a few
exciting.
other things, and then Neil said, Houston, Tranquility Base, the Eagle has landed. Man, how about that?
That was very exciting.
Not a bad line.
So there he's got that one. You hear Conan OBrien tries to backtrack that right away. Where he has this thing where his little girl fucking asks him flat out. I don't know why we keep lying about that either. It goes into the whole like the flat Earth concept, which, to be honest, I could not. It has zero effect on me if Scott and Matt, you guys are going to fight to the death because each one of you has an opposing factual proof that it's either a globe or a flying disc. I'd be like, it doesn't change shit for me for today. I don't care about any of it. So I don't know what the purpose of lying to us about the moon would do anymore. Interview.
Well, there's a representative in Texas that thinks we can live on the moon.
Oh, yeah, we're going to play her in a second. And here's Buzz answering a little girl about why we haven't been back to the moon.
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going.
That's a little Kamala Harris-ish, but it's not. There's no denying what he was saying in that at all.
Yeah, I agree.
They got to stop rolling them out there and doing media events.
All right, here's this is Democrat, one of my favorite Democrats, Sheila Jackson Lee, doing her best. Hank Johnson, where for those who don't remember, Hank Johnson talked about if too many people are on one side of Guam, it would tip over. I don't know if this is. Now I'm just asking.
Capsize.
Right? Is this a Democrat thing because they say this? Remember, they said that Trump encouraged people to drink bleach and inject like UV rays into their arms for the COVID shit. Here's Sheila Jackson, and you could pick. Is it Democrat or is it something else they have in common that makes them this stupid? Email your racist complaints to Chelsea at Spreely.com. About the moon.
Light and energy.
Yeah.
So that you have the energy of the moon at night, and sometimes you've heard the word full moon.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to take the opportunity just to come out and see a full moon is that complete rounded circle.
Yeah.
Which is made up mostly of gases.
Yeah.
And that's why the question is why or how could we as humans live on the moon? Are the gases such that we could do that? The sun is a mighty powerful heat. It is almost impossible to go near the sun.
Almost impossible to go near the sun.
Almost.
But clearly what she doesn't know is that the moon is made of cheese, so we just can't go there because we'll eat it all. That's the problem with that. That's the problem with that. Maddie,
Yeah.
Listen.
These are our elected officials, folks.
Right.
These
Well,
are who get to decide policy.
There's my question, right? Let's play pretend for a second, because we're not encouraging violence, but we're gonna kind of talk about something for a second. Matt, if you knew, because you're huge in the Constitution, you know it very well. No, I just shut the fuck up for a second, and we're gonna pretend. We're pretending. If by some chance you had Representative Sheila Jackson Lee and she was in your home and she was, I don't know, taking that attitude of aloofness, borderline stupid fucking mental retardation, and she was trying to run your home as the matriarch, would you put her in a fucking nursing home?
Well, that would cost money.
Yeah. Okay.
I would put her
Old Yeller treatment
deep beneath the earth in the underneath the ground after her breathing capabilities had ceased. I don't know how they would cease, of course. I'm just hoping they would.
Hypothetically.
I don't get it, and I'm not joking around about this. When you have these people who are leading this country, they're on both sides. We have fucking idiots on both sides who perpetually lie, perpetually make shit up. I don't know how somebody vetted Sheila Jackson to go before, if it was grammar school kids or high school kids, and flat out said, hey, your level of importance is so non-existent. We want you to go talk about these kids and fucking gas and cheese on the moon and living on the sun. Would you do that today? Which makes me believe that she's... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I think she's the kind of woman who they bring her shit and you're like, Congresswoman, you have to look at this today. I don't have to look at anything. I'm Sheila Jackson Lee. Don't tell me. I know my job. I'm telling you, she's so entitled. She doesn't read any briefs. She knows nothing of what's going on in this country. And she got elected in that position. Now she makes the rules. And people like this, to be honest, I'm not joking around. Oh God, I sound like Biden saying that. Holy shit. I'm not joking around. I think those people, they are the most dangerous thing for this country, and I think that they need to be dealt with extremely harshly because they are in direct line of affecting millions of fucking lives. They're a danger to us.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, don't you think that's what we deserve for not doing anything about it? Don't we deserve what we get if we refuse to remove these individuals?
Yeah.
If all we do is cast a ballot and expect things to change, and it never does, historically speaking, it never has. This is what we deserve if we refuse to take action against it. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I'm not disagreeing one damn bit. One damn bit. I said this 3 months ago. I never went to a village hall meeting where I lived. The only time I ever went there was when I had to pull like a detail working, as a cop, and that was it. You sat by because the mayor was like, hey, we're introducing something today, and we're worried that people protest, so just have an officer stand by. Great. So I started going to my village hall meetings because I'm like, I don't know what's going on a local level, and if they decide to raise my property tax or whatever, or bill my water bill differently, that's my fucking fault. It's 100% my fault. So I don't know. I think it's just stupid. We're fucked.
No, I agree with you. And you actually put a post out the other day, Dominic. I don't know if it was yesterday or day before about taxes, paying taxes. Remember that post?
Yeah, I didn't file this year.
Well, my whole point is I agree with that. 100%. If we are actually complicit to everything that we believe is evil that the government is doing, all the corruption, we actually are taking an active part in allowing that to happen by feeding the beast that is literally killing us and our country and our culture. We're paying for it. And we're voluntarily paying. Now, you can make the argument that if you receive a paycheck through payroll company, you don't get to choose to pay the taxes or not. Otherwise, you don't have a job unless you can find out how to get employed by a company or individual who refuses to use payroll companies and just pays you with cash, which in my opinion, I believe employers should do. However, if you have the capability to pay taxes and not pay taxes, whether you're 1099, for every single citizen of this country, if you're capable to not pay the extortion that the IRS created by Abraham Lincoln, by the way, you do not pay that. You are feeding the beast that you are bitching and complaining about. Scotty Sieverts, where's the lie?
No lies detected there. And we are complicit in this. Yeah. And our founders who founded this country, they put in a back end here if things go wrong. And in fact, they called for it in the Declaration of Independence, that if the government goes off the rails, to abolish it and start over. Now, we've been called extremists on this one.
Yeah.
But that would make the 56 men that signed the Declaration of Independence extremists as well. Our founders called for it. They said, hey, things go off the rails here. You got to do something about it. And here's a one for you. Here's the Second Amendment. Use that and then follow the Declaration of Independence. And we don't do it. And most, if not all, of the elected officials sitting in Congress or the Senate have violated the Constitution. And if you violate, or if you even conspire to violate the Constitution,
Deprive rights. It's a felony offense.
it's a felony offense. So these people should, well, I mean, really, the citizens should get together, make citizens arrests, and then just start over.
Right. But to your point, Dom, this is why we do this on the Burn Pit. We try and promote organizations of citizens to organize in groups and resist tyranny, right? Because organizing to vote has done nothing. It actually exacerbates the problem because you have resigned yourself now to admitting that you are a slave on the plantation and all you are doing is trying to vote for the best slave master and to adapt to your slavery to make it more comfortable. And that's all Americans are doing. So to your point, Dominic, it is our fault 100% if we continue going down this road and not taking actual action and defending against this.
Matt, this is what we get. But Matt, are you calling for violence? Is that what you're calling
I'm calling for self-defense.
There you go.
And 100%, I'll say this a million times. What is the linchpin in this, the balance, right? What is that brick wall, that barrier that prevents every fucking American from doing something like this? The street cop.
Law enforcement.
100%.
Yep.
If every cop out there sat there, and it blows me away, we're in 2024, they still don't know their job. I made a comment yesterday. Alan Richter, the guy who plays Reacher or whatever, the giant big fucking guy, apparently he made some comment talking about how cops get away with murder every day or this and that stuff or whatever. And I don't even know if he legitimately made it, but he got in a pissing match with the FOP because the FOP put up and said they attacked him back on this comment, which was put on Twitter, and he said, I don't even have a Twitter. So they took the first swing on this shit, and all he did was comment on how immature that a knee-jerk reaction by your law enforcement gets when you criticize them. And he went off going, this is kind of embarrassing how, I'm not going to misquote this. I'm actually going to pull this up 100%, 100%, because it shows the danger in where we're at on the street. While we're doing that, give a quick plug to the Burn Pit podcast. What do you guys got coming up this week?
Of course. You can watch the Burn Pit podcast on Spreey TV. Spreey TV can be downloaded on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick. We are the 4 o'clock time slot every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 o'clock Pacific. That is our live show. And we just had a brilliant gentleman by the name of E. Michael Jones, Dr. E. Michael Jones. He is the publisher of Culture Wars magazine. He's written several books. He was a professor at colleges.
St. Mary's College.
St. Mary's College. He was excellent. Next week, we have Dr. Alan Zabrowski on. He is a former gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. He was a professor at West Point, Johns Hopkins. There's a long list. He's extremely educated. We've had him on before, but he's coming on again. Actually, Dominic, I was going to bring this up to you, but I'll bring it up live. I did a podcast with a gentleman named Paul Spadafora. He's a local Pittsburgh legend here. He's a boxer. He was 49-1-1. He had a great career, but he had some troubles, and I got the opportunity to have him on a podcast. It was great. And his wife, Nadine, who's fantastic, actually reached out to me, and she said that she had some back and forth with the wife of Tito Ortiz, and I believe her name's Amber.
Yeah.
She, the two of them had some back and forth, and I think we're going to get Tito Ortiz to come on. He's been pretty vocal as a Hispanic American who has a platform like him to be very vocal and outspoken about conservative issues there. You know, anytime somebody that the left has put in a box and said, you know, you're black, you have to vote this way. You're gay, you should vote this way. You're a woman, you have to be pro-choice. You're Hispanic, you have to be for immigration. You have to, for someone that goes out of the box like that, like a Candace Owens or a Tito Ortiz, they get crushed by the left. They get, demonized, and they get told, hey, you can't have that opinion. That's not the opinion that you're supposed to have, being that you're Hispanic or being that you're black. You're supposed to have this opinion, and because we say so. And for them to have their own opinions and their own thought, it's very courageous and brave. I'd love to interview the Huntington Beach bad boy, and I think we're going to make that happen thanks to Paul Spadafora and his wife Nadine.
Oh, good. Yeah, let me know if I can help. Tito's been on the show, and every now and then, Amber, I've done a couple of interviews with Amber. I'll be more than happy to bridge that gap for you.
It'd be awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
brother.
Of course. The issue is that somebody had said, Alan, his name is Alan Richton, Ritchson, had said that Trump is the poster boy for rape, and that cops get away with murder all the time. Now, for those who don't know, he plays the character Reacher, which is accurate because people were pissed about Tom Cruise playing him in the movie because the guy's a lot bigger than how Tom Cruise is. So we finally had the dynamic frame of this guy, right? But he puts up on his Twitter, he puts up on his Instagram, I don't even have a Twitter account. That's all he put. The FOP, National Fraternal Order Police, who, now you would think that cops do investigative work. I don't know. That was my responsibility when I was a police officer. A lot of people love to give me shit because I was a suburban cop versus like CPD, but people don't understand. When I was called to a scene, I responded, I did the investigation, had to do the fucking follow-up, had the report, had to do the arrest, the booking, even if necessary on that day, I had to fucking transport to county jail, all that shit. CPD shows up, picks their ass, stands around 50, 40 at a time, and they do nothing other than, we're standing around. That's it. They don't do shit. They have a department for everything there. So fuck anybody who thinks that suburban cops don't do anything. But the FOP says, while Mr. Richton gets his face and forehead powdered on set, our officers are going out doing the job he doesn't have the courage to do. While he gets to hear loud pops and have blanks fired at him, our officers feel the heat of the bullets as they pierce their skin. There is no take twos or take threes in real life, Mr. Richton. We have people who want to kill us, and we play for keeps. Just another useless Hollywood actor, virtue signaling attention for the expense of brave police officers in the country. Go back and get your pampered life and let the heroes handle this. He responds, and I happen to agree with him, this is the kind of emotionally immature response. It is the epitome of what concerns me about law enforcement today. If this is how leadership handles a peaceful disagreement, what does life look for the unseen interactions on the street? How does the shape of the character of those police officers look to management? Do you really want individuals so easily angered who bully like school children to have a gun and protection of an untouchable union? I don't. And he goes on to GOP and all this stuff. I commented, because my comments got 13,000 likes. I simply commented, a retired cop here. Much of what you said is true and a legitimate problem in law enforcement. The cop ego is fragile and dangerous and not needed on our streets, and it's showing no signs of going anywhere. Always blows me away how law enforcement has the right and responsibility to criticize, discern, and evaluate for investigations, but they hate the same microscope being fixed on them. Do you want to know what the feedback was like on my comment? It was
everyone hated on it.
It was, well, by those who were appreciative, they simply said, thank you, appreciate you speaking out about this. For other cops and bootlickers, it was, you were never a real cop. You got fired from multiple agencies. I bet you wrote a desk. Oh, I looked up the department you worked at. You had no high priority calls. It shows cops and cop supporters are the biggest fucking babies that we have out there, and they're the ones who should be the most level-headed to have the balls to say, no, we are not enforcing anything our corrupt government says. We're standing by the Constitution. But because these sensitive little fucking cunts they take this bow down, worship me because I have a badge mentality, we are fucked as a country, because this is why we won't do anything. We're worried about the police showing up because you didn't file your taxes, and the cops saying, there's nothing I could do, it's got to do my job. And they'll do their job, and they are the brown shirts of today.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Dominic. And this is why citizens need to organize in large numbers and then promote resistance, even with an act, or I'm sorry, a show of force. And then whenever they resist any type of unconstitutional law or any type of constitutional deprivation by law enforcement or even by any government official, because to your point, all law enforcement are at this point are bodyguards for tyrants. These politicians and corrupt government officials would not do what they are doing if they knew law enforcement would back down and be like, oh, hey, I'm not going to defend you on this. The people of this town have spoken, and it looks like they have a lynch mob with pitchforks, torches, and, oh, actually, they have AR-15s. So the police would back down. Any local or even city. I mean, Pittsburgh has, 500 police officers total?
Something like that.
That's not on duty at once. That's total. You get 1,000 citizens. Let's get you 500 citizens. Like, yeah, we're not going to abide by this property tax. Okay, the cops have a choice to make. They can either, okay, looks like we're gonna go up against you 500 citizens, but if you do that, you know full well that not everybody on either side is coming back alive.
Yeah.
If you had that show of force, there would be immediate withdrawal, back down, or negotiations would be made. Citizens are the real cunts, the real pussies, the real cowards, because none of them even speak about organizing in this manner. And it is literally the only known way to resist tyranny that has been found to actually be effective, at least in the United States of America. And I think we go back to 1776 to prove that fact. Not only to mention also the Bundy Ranch incident back in 2014, I believe. But the citizens are cowards. They want to say, well, Second Amendment, don't tread on me, as they fucking get tread on, or Molon Law take, come and get it, as you have 18 or 19 red flag law states to which they are Molon lobbying your fucking guns. Because no one stands up. The fucking Republican, conservative, patriotic, and I put that in quotations, conservative base of this country are the biggest fucking group of loser, coward, pussy faggots I've ever met. And I'm not talking about homosexuals. I never, when I use that word, I'm talking about heterosexual men who are conservatives. They're the biggest group of fucking pussies because they'll never organize and resist tyranny. And they're the biggest Second Amendment promoters that there is in the country. However, the far left, Dominic, as you know, BLM and Antifa, they will burn your fucking city to the ground. They're not afraid of using violence. The fucking people on the right won't even use self-defense to protect their life, liberty, and property and constitutional rights. I yield back to you, Dominic.
Wow. Yeah. No lie was fucking spoken. Holy shit. I had so much shit to just back you up and agree on, but my God, it sucks, dude. I hate being in this position, and that was my stance. It's like I'm not married, I have no kids, and I'm not gonna lie. If the world continues like this, some asshole put up on my post, good luck in federal prison. I'm like, dude, federal prison? So wait a second. I'm almost 50. I don't give a shit about stuff anymore. The world's going to shit. You're telling me that you would house me in a place that's climate controlled. I'd be guaranteed 3 fucking meals a day. It's federal fucking prison. And I would just have a segmented regimen every day. Okay. What's your fucking point? I can't stand that crap. And then also, you're right. I put up a goofy tweet yesterday that said, kind of me hopes that Donald Trump will get arrested because I like to see what a real insurrection looks like. Full well knowing that even if he gets arrested or goes to jail, nothing's going to happen. Not a part of me thought, man, it's a win-win for the left. Because if they're doing this on purpose and they're like, man, yeah, we're going to put him in jail. And we're going to watch the base just fucking revolt. We can institute, your National Guard, and then your what is it? Your what's that fucking martial law. It's like we could do that and prove that the right is crazy. That's a win. Or if they do nothing like they did during the fucking pandemic, it's a win. So we're just stupid. We're lost, dude. We're lost. I don't care.
These police officers too. They're put in a position where they have to choose their career, their 401k, their pension plans, their salary, which, if they're married and they have kids, they're put in a position where you have to choose, well, do I keep this or do I actually uphold my oath that I took? And a lot of them are afraid to lose all that, to lose their security, to lose that safety net of a salary. So that alone right there should this is when somebody goes, it's not a few cops. It's just a few cops. It's not the entire. It's the entire fucking profession, because what you said happened during the pandemic, where I had a public Facebook page and I put up the whole thing about this and that, and some dumb motherfuckers commented, Izzo, you're not a cop anymore. You don't have to worry about where your paycheck's going to come to house your kids. And I would say, did you just put that online, that in public, that you are willing to violate somebody's constitutional rights to keep your paycheck? Then they deleted and blocked me. That happened all the time. Yep. And this is something I cannot make any justification, excuse for whatsoever. If you're a cop, and you know exactly what the job is, and it comes down to where you're like, I'm not standing up against Sergeant who said, man, here's roll call today. We got to go down to 123 Main Street and violate this guy's civil rights. I'm just going to do what I'm told. I'm going to follow fucking orders. That cancer is way past spreading. It's spread. It's done, because you have him or her who did it, even though we shouldn't have female cops. And then you've got the others who know exactly what's going on, and they're all like, I'm just going to keep my head down, and I'm going to act like nobody saw me. And the fact that you can say that, what you just said, proves we have the biggest problem in law enforcement. And in my opinion, it's beyond saving. And how they're going to save it is they are going to federalize it, and they're going to make everybody drones worse than they already are. Yeah, no, it is. It's a major issue there. I mean, everyone worships the almighty shekel. That's just what it is. Yeah. They're beholden to that. So
the love of money is the root of all evil.
The root of all evil. That's
what verse is that?
That's biblical. Yeah. Oh boy, that's okay. I need to practice.
But I think you're right, Scotty and Dominic. You're both 100% right. And again, the only way to combat this is by resistance. Just like, look, resistance means that force has to be given, right? Whenever you are bench pressing and the weight is coming down, you resist by using physical force. This is simple, it is scientific, it is mathematical, and it is historically effective. And the citizens of this country who claim to be patriotic, claim to be pro-America, claim to be pro-Constitution, which, by the way, Dominic, most police claim to be, conservative, right? I could be wrong.
Other unions vote Democrat. That's just how it has to be.
Well, maybe that's it. But regardless, if the police are just doing it for a paycheck, that means they will do anything for a paycheck.
Of course.
And if they don't, I'm not going to give a name, but where I live, I talked to the police chief. He works out at my gym, and we were bringing up COVID. I brought up COVID. This was just last week. And I was like, the cops didn't even talk about enforcing the law, charging or arresting government officials for violence. He's like, well, no, I don't think anybody knew what the law was, Matt. He goes, the police didn't know what the law was. He goes, I didn't. Now, again, it's the police chief. He had no idea about private property rights being illegal. No clue. He said nobody knew what the laws were. And if that's the case, then who gives a fuck? You're just going to do what you're told. And as soon as citizens understand that the police will do whatever the fuck they're told and implement the threat of violence or violence itself, to implement that order or edict or mandate by their government masters, then the citizens have to make a choice. I either accept my enslavement and tyranny, or I choose to fight back against it. And in my opinion, that's where we're at. And all I've seen from the right, the patriotic quote unquote right, is they are only willing to accept it and vote for their best possible slave master that is given to them by their, lobbying groups.
Well, we've talked about this. We've talked about this, Dominic, and I think you'll agree. And I think we spoke about this too on past podcasts, like your podcast Become War. There's a universal law, and its might is right. And the government has set examples of people so that the people fear doing anything against them. Now, the people have to now do that exactly in return, because government officials need to have that fear as well of the people, since they work for us. We, the people, right?
Supposed to, anyway.
Supposed to. We should set that example. We should set that. The might is right. And that will deter when you set a physical example, you physically discipline somebody or you physically humiliate somebody. What that does, obviously, is set an example for other people, and it deters that action or behavior going forward. Now, what we could do is set an example like the Bundy Ranch in 2014, where they had a show of force, militia showed up, and it set an example that, a show of force actually does work. The ATF and the feds, they went home. They packed their bags and said, all right, fine, we'll leave these guys alone. That needs to be done. And that's what we've been talking about here for the last half hour.
And it needs to be done in every county that needs it, or every state that needs it. And there's a famous Thomas Jefferson quote. And this is the guy who was, the third president of the United States.
Yes.
Yeah. And he said, when the people fear the government, there is tyranny. But when the government fears the people, there is liberty. And the government has not been afraid by its citizens in a very, very long time. And I believe it is up to us, especially me. I'm going to make this my life's goal, is to tell everybody and teach everybody and promote for the fucking government to be afraid of us. And I want them scared to fucking death.
We're conditioned now. The people, the citizens are conditioned. Well, if we do that, even though it's my right, even though constitutionally I'm allowed to, if we do that, someone will arrest us, or someone will fine us, or I'll get sent a citation, I'll get sent this. So now we're feared and conditioned not to do what they want us to do. Well, that's got to turn. The tables have to turn. We now have to condition the government to go, hey, listen, if we do this, people are going to organize and they're going to come for us.
Yep.
So we can't do that anymore. That's what the tables have to turn. We need to start the conditioning process, and the might is right rule of law has to be done by the citizens to the government, not the other.
But it will take courage. Cowardice, you will never be free if you're a coward. It's impossible.
And bravery and courageousness, that's contagious. So all it takes is for a couple people to stand up and other people go, I'm with that guy, I'm going to join him.
That's it. Go ahead, Dominic.
Is it, though? Because here's the deal. Bravery is contagious. I don't know anymore. I wonder if social media has done it to where why would anybody want to give up the position of being given accolades and being praised for their vocal leadership in place of action, where now you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you could be replaced if you're not true of it. You, Scott or Maddie, brought up the bench press reference a few minutes ago. How dare you bring up something that's going to exclude other males who, oh my gosh, they don't work out and whatnot. I was watching earlier today, Scott and I talked about this weeks ago, these social media influencers out there who are all about tough. They come from prison. They've got this hard no shit. I gave Wes Watson the biggest fucking critique in the world. Then I started to watch him, and I went, wait a second. This guy's actually about advocating for caring people pretty big. And then I was watching Andy Elliott. And Andy Elliott, I couldn't fucking stand to begin with, because he's like, hey, he's a car sales. He's car sales. He trains car sales. And I'm looking at his message, which is always, he's talking about guys coming up and taking off their shirts in front of the class that he's teaching. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that. And then after watching a while, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't, because I'm fucking embarrassed. And the point he's doing is having me and everyone else set a standard of excellence so I won't be a 50-year-old fat fucking pig and be a real man. So the more I started to watch this, I'm seeing this surge of men advocating that courageous masculinity. And then today, Here comes this guru, gray hair, full gray beard, and he's leading his own path. This Andy Elliott tactic, it's bullying, and real men don't bully, and we don't pull each other down as men. Are you out of your fucking mind? We finally have and I try to explain this to people with sales, right? Like iron sharpening iron. For me, with my group, I don't have other men who are like, dude, you are a fat fucking piece of shit. How do you live with yourself? And they won't say that kind of shit because they don't understand. It's exactly what I need to hear. I need men of a certain caliber that I respect shaming and bullying the shit out of me because I don't want to get left out of the fucking party. But that's my mentality. I don't know, Scott, to your point, if courage is contagious, because how many people are going to see you running towards the fucking, the mob with the pitchfork and the torch? Matt does it, I do it, and then other people going, oh, they're just narcissists, and they're doing this for their own ego's sake, and no, real men will empathize with the other side. I don't know if fucking courage even has a currency anymore in today's society.
Well, let me give you two examples. We already brought one up, was the Bundy Ranch. 3,000 people organized this show of force, and it worked. So it does happen. I'm not saying it happens all the time. That's one incident, right?
Yeah.
But let me give you another incident to your point that kind of excludes the whole physical strength masculinity part. You had Antifa and these BLM cucks, which, by the way, most were white, by the way. They don't work out. They're a bunch of, freaky little communist Marxist teenage idiots. They organized and burned cities to the fucking ground and beat up old people and whatever. So they did it. They got together and took over the whole country practically, to where the country bowed down to them, to a point where they're removing fucking Indians off of the Land O'Lakes butter freaking package, Aunt Jemima off of the syrup. They're removing names off of the NFL, whatever.
Right.
The country to bow down to them. And I don't think that these were masculine, muscular men who are even trained in any type of physical self-defense or firearms training. Yet they organized, because I'm going to tell you this, Dominic, I don't give a fuck how badass you are of shooting guns or using your weapons. I don't care how much of an MMA fighter you are and how much experience you have in fist fighting or new Brazilian jiu-jitsu or whatever. And I don't care how muscular and big you are. Take 100 men who are scrawny, skinny, and 120 pounds soaking wet. If they are willing to enter the arena and fight against the other 100 men who are ex-Navy SEAL, bodybuilder, tactical training, MMA fighters, whatever, and are not willing to enter the arena because they're useless. At least these guys over here will enter the arena and fight to the death, even though they might not be trained or physically, they're not as physically superior as the other men who are not willing to fight.
Do you think that they were successful with all that shit? Because it's the gang mentality, right? You separate them. They're the biggest pussies in the world. We saw that they masked themselves and all this shit, and they have no fucking real incentive other than to burn shit down because it feels good. Do you think that they were successful because they faced zero opposition? That if you had a group,
that's my point. They scared the opposition to where they wouldn't even fight against them.
Yeah. The real men, right? Real fucking men.
Those are just the facts.
Yes, no, you're 100% right. Real men. And I'll throw myself in that because Chicago, when they started like the whole fucking Columbus statue and throwing bottles of piss at cops, I wasn't going to go down there. I'm not going to go down there and back an agency who doesn't do shit and doesn't turn their back on their own fucking mayor who couldn't stand them. Yeah. So it does suck that you have that divided, and then that breeds apathy. And I will 100% say I was apathetic, 100%. But if it came down to my cul-de-sac being invaded by that shit, I'd be the first one up, standing with every long gun I've got in my front yard, waiting for the police to come because, they'd arrest me. I wouldn't give a shit. I'd go out looking like an aerated lawn. So I don't know why that we've become so useless as men and the women out there who are be able to fight at our sides. But we let all that shit happen instead of being instead of one, there should have been thousands of Kyle Rittenhouses. There really should have, and we fucking just
agreed.
We all got behind him, right? Oh, look at him, he's a hero. He's a hero. This is poor fucking kid put in a position to take somebody's life, but grown men and fucking cops and
He still
women
almost went to jail.
Yeah.
He still almost went to jail.
Yeah, to your point, Dominic, my militia unit did go downtown. Multiple different businesses we stood out front of.
Matty was on local news.
Yeah, all they did, here's what happened, because there was multiple members of my unit. And they weren't even exposed with their names. I put my face out there because I didn't give a fuck. They called us white supremacists, white nationalists, all these names. And that in itself, being called a bad name, deterred a lot of people, and they shut up and they walked away. Even groups that are in militia units, they would not engage because the media doxing us or doxing any militia unit out there as these names, racist, white supremacist, that was enough for people to disengage. I don't want to be called a bad name, so I'm not going to fight for freedom or fight against these insurrections in my own city and buildings being burnt to the ground. I'm not joking. That's exactly what it was.
I believe
fear of being called a bad name through the media.
I believe it, and it's fucking embarrassing. And then at what point do you become the next Joe Biggs, right? What point do you sit there and you stand up for the country? And I don't have the full story on what Joe did, so I don't know. I think what his sentence is insane, fucking insane. But at what point are the Matty Wacks of the world going to have to sit there and get targeted by the government, and then other people go, you know what? Fuck this. Our country is a communist, and we need to fight back. Or is the government backing off, and they're not even going to go after somebody like you because they don't want that risk to happen? So we go, we can't prosecute somebody like Matt because that will inspire too many.
Problem going after some. I'm sorry.
No, they don't want to inspire people who actually stand up for the country.
Right. I mean, that's why they don't. Well, this is the thing. Not enough of me are outspoken. You know, I've been speaking to this. I've been doing public speaking events, and I've been in the militia for 5 years now. Okay, yeah, the FBI called me and they visited a couple other guys.
True story.
And one of the guys was scared away, but I mean, he had certain circumstances. But you know, they didn't charge us. They didn't arrest us. They didn't even threaten to arrest us. They just met with us as a fear tactic, and it worked. And the point is, whenever you have that fear tactic of just a visit or the phone call, most people, because we are emasculated, we don't have that 1776 mentality, life, fortune, and sacred honor. We don't have that anymore. These guys were fucking millionaires and billionaires at the time, right? The Jeffersons, all the guys that signed the Declaration, Thomas McKean, you know, John Hancock was one of the richest men in New England. And during the war, this guy was a property owner. And one of the biggest property owners in New England. And during the war, he was quoted outside saying, "Burn Boston to the ground, though it makes John Hancock a beggar, if the public good requires it," end quote. You think you'll have anybody that would give up everything they have for freedom and liberty in today's society? They won't even give up their fucking sports ball tickets or their or you know,
their Netflix account.
Yeah, they won't give anything up. So you don't have that mentality anymore. You have a slave morality, as Nietzsche put it. You have the slave morality. You don't have master morality. You don't have that, I'm going to take what I want. I'm going to take my freedom. I'm not going to listen by any other man's rules. I'm going to be free. I'm going to make sure my people are free. My country is free. And you don't have that anymore. Everyone's scared. I'm going to tell you this. Everyone dies. Everybody will fucking die one day. You don't live forever. You can't take any of that shit with you. What you can do is you can do what's righteous, you can do what's moral, you can do what's honorable. No one wants to do that.
And leave a legacy.
That's right.
Imagine going to your biggest patriotic blue check mark fucking influencer and say, hey, listen, David Harris Jr., who fucking just is the t-shirt of the week, right? Because last I checked, how long wasn't he fighting child sex trafficker pedophiles just a couple of weeks ago? Yeah. I haven't heard. Yeah, hashtag God's kids aren't for sale.
Drano too. He's another one.
Yeah. So if you went to them and said, "Listen, We 100% democracy, the whole constitutional republic, the rule of law, everything will return. A single tier of justice system will return. Oh, awesome. What do we got to do? Give up your social media. Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. That's where we're at. That's where we're fucking at. When you described people backing down because the FBI paid them a visit, you don't think your cops are the same way? Fucking, yeah, watch how many cops are all tough talk about their own command staff until somebody says, hey, sign your name on this letter of no confidence vote. Oh, I can't, I can't, man. I can't. Oh, but you bitch about it all shift every fucking day of the week, right? Oh, now we got to go and we got to go arrest John Q. Public over there for not his grass being too high. Okay, we're going to do that today. We are, all of us are pussies across the board, and it fucking sucks.
Well, I think more of us should make it our goal, Dominic, to promote that those ideals, those founding fathers' ideals, those 1776 ideals. I really think it's our job and duty as Americans to do that and not worry about the almighty dollar. We don't get paid.
Nope.
We have our studio time paid for by the. We make $1.
Right. We don't make $1 off this podcast. We do it because, number one, we have a message. We're here to destroy the narratives here. We have a message of truth and honesty. We bring you unadulterated truth, and we don't hold back anything. And we offer solutions here at the Burn Pit Podcast every Monday, 4 p.m. on Spreey TV.
Go ahead, Dominic.
Okay, I was waiting to insert the pile of shoes comment somewhere. This is probably the fucking funniest. I'm not going to lie.
Dominic, we've got to get together sometime in private, though, seriously. I'm being dead serious. I would love to get together with you in private, me, you, and Scotty, sometime maybe in the future, in the next couple months. We'll come visit you or something. We'll sit down and discuss other things that we don't really, might not want to discuss on here.
I'm fine with that. Sadly, I don't think I would disagree with too much. I just can't stand some people's fucking delivery. Holy shit. I don't know, man. It's a world gone mad. That's my mission lately, is to 100% like hold our cops accountable. I'm heartbroken personally over this profession I loved and I was forced out of. And then you get these, just from my message yesterday, when I put on that Alan Richton's account where I said, much of what you said that's how I opened it. Much of what you said was true. And then you get the cop supporters and the cops. Oh, so how many people have you gotten away from murder with? And I just didn't respond to a single one of them going, we have stupid men and women on the street who can't even take an emotional criticism without going, that much. I put the word much in front of where I said, of what you said is true. So I think that we have dangerous people on the street in uniform because of their willingness to violate your constitutional rights. And we have pussies who do act as if they're dangerous, and they pose with their blue line t-shirts and their fucking come and take them hashtags. And I've said it a million times. You're all come and take them until you see 123 Main Street have a show of force of 20 cops up at their doorstep, bum rush them, and they take them out in handcuffs and seize all their firearms because of a red flag angry ex-girlfriend. And you're going to be like, come and take them. That's about as loud as you're going to fucking chant that shit. So I don't know. I want to bird box people. If you haven't seen the movie, pry their eyes open, show them how stupid they are. I have had many fantasies of government officials, like you duct taping them to a fucking chair and you saying, listen, you're going to get the old school fucking mob beat down until you understand that you work for us. And, you say shit like that, and the next thing you know, you're on the fucking FBI's radar, because they should be the ones doing that. The FBI should be the ones sitting there going up to corrupt both Republicans and Democrats and torturing them until they do their fucking job they swore to. But it's never going to happen.
Yeah. The whole system's fucked, Dominic. The whole system's corrupted.
Yeah, the slavish devotion to certain entities like back the blue no matter what.
Oh,
back the blue no matter what. Back the United States government, the military operations no matter what. Back our greatest ally, Israel, no matter what. Really, our slavish devotion as people, as citizens of this country, should be to the truth, righteousness, country, the people of this country, and its founders. Our founders cared about the future generations, and we need to care just like they did about the future, because we're going to leave this country in ruins, and it already is, because past generations didn't give a shit.
Yep. And I believe even if you die in battle fighting this evil, Dominic, I would rather have my family members, my nieces, visit my tombstone and say, you know, at least my Uncle Matt, even though he died, at least he fucking tried, God damn it. At least he did that.
Yeah. I have no problem with it. Think about that. You run first. Like, I always look at those old like war movies that are either before the invention of firearms, and I'm thinking, man, what was it like to charge the adversary, knowing the first line, man, you're about to get your head cut off by a broadsword. Man, it'd be awesome. Be like, dude, you don't have to sit there serving that army anymore. You're dead. You're in paradise or Valhalla, whatever you believe in. I'll be the first charging. I don't care. If we're at that point, my old ass will be out there shaping fucking whatever. Now I'm all fired up. I'm off a test for this month, but I feel like a big surge is going up there. All right, the Burn Pit podcast is
real quick. Read the story of Horatio on the Bridge. It's an old Roman story about fighting the Etruscans. He was literally by himself, holding off the entire Etruscan army on the bridge while his cohorts cut the bridge down so the Etruscan army could not pass by. You should read that story. There's even a great painting made of it.
Yeah, and you don't hear too much about that because that requires fucking what? Sacrifice and unselfishness, and people aren't willing to do today. Burn Pit Podcast, Mondays are here on Spreely, 4 p.m. Eastern. Maddie, Wack, and Scott, always fucking fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed this, because the Mercury retrograde did not affect our service as much. If it did, it did. I don't know what to tell you. Whatever. Blame the fucking sky and the Star Foundation, all that shit. Go to Spreely.com. Stop bitching about, oh, Instagram censored me, Twitter censored me. Fuck you. We have our own social media platform, Spreely.com. Download Freedom Hub. Show some solidarity and support for small business that you talk about online that you're not willing to give in reality. Do it. Spreely.com. There you go. See you guys tomorrow. Mamie Lola will be back. I don't know. We've been talking. We'll see what happens. Go help somebody today, and if you can't help them, don't fucking hurt them.